Good afternoon, everybody. This is the last of 3 of the webinars that I'm doing this afternoon. So this one is called Human Trafficking. Go ahead and share my screen, everybody. So here is an article, excuse me, this is the presentation of Human Trafficking Volume 2 presented by the Future Johnson. So as I share my screen, I'm going to go right to the article. This article I've trained on social media where it was talking about Toronto cops among 10 charged in the human trafficking probe. So what was going on here in Toronto, Canada? They was talking about Toronto police contained Peter Robinson of 51 Divided, second from the right, facing charge in human trafficking investigations. Investigation into the sexual exploitation of a 16-year-old girl netted 10 arrests, including a veteran Toronto police officer. Attribute Peter Robinson, 49 of Toronto, an 11-year-old Toronto Police Service member with 51 Division, was arrested along with 9 other men in the conclusion of the project, but 16 on an effort to locate men who purchased sexual services from the victims in the Pop Avelis and Covert Avenue of East York. So as you can see, it looks like a video was caught on, well, then again, this might not be, nope, this is something about a shoot. So that has nothing to tie into about what I'm speaking about. So I will not be pressing that video. People appear in court on June 24th. The TBS human trafficking team began their investigation in the explosion of 2019. So it was a 19-year-old, a 35-year-old, a 45-year-old, 27, 29, 36, 41, 27, 29, all of Toronto are accused of obtaining sexual service for consideration of a person under 18 years old. So this all took place in 2019, and they got charged for their action in this horrific crime that has been going on for quite a while. So moving on to my next article. This one is an article from the Foreign Exchange Policy, and it's talking about the pandemic hidden human trafficking crisis. And this article was published April 30th, 2020. And it's talking about how people dealing with this issue with human trafficking and how things are starting to be uprise during this whole pandemic. And as you go through the article and read keenly about what the views and points that people feel at this very state, because we're at June 18, 2020, and how is this really affecting people right now at this very moment, is getting you to understand as well as identify some of these key points that really is erupting right now at this very state in our primary area in life. And to see the content that's being shared and stuff still going on in of the pandemic, and how the human trafficking numbers are still going, and how the victims are really dealing with this overall, is really a complete catastrophe. And as you go on and read the content and the interviews and how many of them, there's dozens of them are still fighting for this, still trying to find a solution to stop this and to prevent this from getting any further than it already has. And then they had desperate calls to approach trafficking preventing as a life-saving of activity. First responders to impair the initial stage of emergency response. Numerous of leading humanity organizations have no specific anti-trafficking training available for their staff members. So they're working through this during the pandemic. See, this is stuff we don't hear about on the scene because everybody's been focusing on this one particular pandemic issue. But this, as well as homelessness, is all still going on. And this is the stuff we still continue to have to talk about. And I've seen a couple of articles the last few days, and I said, let me do a webinar about human trafficking Volume 2, because I was going so hard in it last year. I did a part 1 and a part 2, and I believe I did a part 3 on that segment and shared it on Facebook Live. And when I talked about it, I talked about it in various states, and I shared different resources and as well as statistics talking about these different issues. And as you can see, it has grown a little bit more higher. And it's like up to 50% of trafficking hotspots, including conflict, sexual land violence, and refuge, comfort, and urgent position. Already society, economic vulnerable communities are even shaking grounds. And this is like, okay, they haven't really been exposing this stuff. So this stuff has been still going on. And as you can see, firsthand evidence that this is showing up yet again. Our focus has been on one primary thing when we were talking about the homelessness. We were talking about human trafficking. We were talking about sex trafficking. We were talking about all the different trafficking. And then COVID-19 has came in and kind of distorted our whole way of thinking about those other issues. And then racism came in, then the shootings and all of this stuff that goes. So we have a lot of things that need to be worked on. Human trafficking, homelessness, COVID-19, racism, prejudicism, all kind of stuff that's out there in the atmosphere. And we have our focus centered on all of the stuff that has been going on for so long. And it's like really exhausting, but at the same time, solutions and plans, things need to take to be full course and full action at this very state and our current state in this life. All right, moving on to the next article, ladies and gentlemen. This article is actually an article about COVID-19 crisis putting human trafficking victims at risk. So when with this article is basically talking about how they're coping with this and how they're dealing with it, and apparently they're not. Yet again, dealing with this because it's 10 times work. It's just like those who are in abusive homes and all kind of stuff that's going on. They're not coping with this. They're in danger. They're scared. They don't know what to do. And by schools being closed and things being closed, people are doing stupid stuff that should not be done, but they're doing it anyway. And it's not a good look, and it doesn't feel. And people today are really like, man, what can I do? How can I cope with it? How can I deal with it? And I'm looking at this and I feel the urge to like click this video. Let me see what this video is talking about. All right. As you can hear and listen to the footage on this video that the lady in the picture is talking about, start to illustrate some of these things and start to visualize like, wow, whole new level of deepness here. So I'm moving on to the next point of this. So, crisis in human trafficking during the pandemic. So this, all right. As you can see, headphones and a laptop here. And they're basically talking about the statistics of it. And I'm going to click here and go to more on this. And they basically, I'm going to go ahead and open up this platform for everybody so they can see what's going on here. Crisis in human trafficking during the pandemic. This is a snapshot of 2020. So it's basically giving you a background history about the current victims and survivors of the sex and labor trafficking. Systematic examination of relevant data from the core operation U.S. National Traffic. I'm basically giving you a lot of different information, hotlines, and things you should do to kind of cope with this and deal with. They're talking about the different time frames from April 1st to April 30th and February 15th and April 1st to 30th. They give you some information and different type of shelters and different type of grace periods you should reach out to. And it's talking about the different findings here. And as you can see on the right hand, this is a documentary of different numbers of how many people in this state of crisis at the time. And the numbers of price trafficking situation increased by more than 40%, increased 60 and 30-day period to 90. And as you keep going further into this content, based on some of the number of situations, people need immediate emergency shelter available for 29 as pre-shelters or pre-places period 54 and 20. April 2020 and in March 2020, they conducted another research to basically show how the COVID-19 epidemic, or excuse me, pandemic, had made the numbers even more higher. And it's showing you in the chart how it went from different levels for each. And then they're talking about the policy of the housing of those who are vulnerable to human trafficking and the different rules and regulations that are followed by this and some additional resources they should try to look into and try to contact. Basically, the content that I showed you, ladies and gentlemen, is basically talking about some things you should do to prevent certain things from happening. Reach out to get services that you need and how much they can protect you doing that whole ordeal. It's a whole nother lifestyle, a whole nother world that nobody want to be a part of. Okay. All right. Human trafficking, stating the point. Now, here's a lady talking about something about the AOC blast ISIL treatment. I just want to kind of hit this up, and I don't think it has a COC. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, how significantly bad this really looks. How basically what happened is they're having people bringing kids in and transporting in human trafficking, and they're put in places where they're not safe, and there's limited things that's stopping them from doing it. And as this lady Alexander explaining, how are they doing this when everything is pretty much shut down? They're doing this and people haven't really paid attention to. And that's the most horrible thing, to kind of turn your eye or turn your deaf ear to people who are human, and they're not getting the proper attention that they are supposed to be getting because of the pandemic. I understand about the virus, but you can't stop being helpful in the fact that we have this, but we still have to know that people are going to still do stuff that's illegal. They're still going to do stuff that is unrighteous. They're still going to cause so much chaos in the midst of what we're doing. And that just right. My own horn to see that footage and to share this with everybody. That's deep. Parents and guardians, I encourage you to thank God. Thank God. Okay. Here we go. These videos are showing stressful events on how people are coping with human trafficking during the pandemic. So here's a video right here. As you can see, this business is still booming while we still going through this pandemic. Here's another video. This is just devastating, everybody. As you can see, there's so much that's been going on behind the scenes. And as you can see, I'm making everybody aware. Here's another video right here. All right, moving on to the next. Hmm. Hmm. Moving on to the next video. This is absolutely sad. Of course. This is a big issue still during this pandemic, and I'm making everyone aware. So here's a couple of more links I want to share with everybody before I close this webinar. So this one is the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, and it's talking about what human trafficking is, and basically gives you in detail what is it and what is going on, how they have made a task force about it, and it just goes in details in this website and tells you about certain things and different stories that people have dealt with and how they dealt with it, and how it's still a real issue at this given moment, and how they still have the campaign. So you can go through this website for yourself. It's www.pbso.org/human trafficking, and just go in detail to see in depth about certain things. And the human trafficking phone number resource number is 1-800-373-7888, and you can be free and you can text 233-733. And this is a very useful website, much more any, so you can go through this website and get more information as things open back up and more things are available to people who are in this situation. This article I saw on social media the other day, I believe it's talking about a lady, and I'm gonna go ahead and play the video for you. I'm gonna pause that. I don't speak Spanish. Just being honest, y'all. This video was May 27, 2020. Hmm. As you see what they're talking about and how the increase goes on, and you can go through the article and kind of just basically say, wow, wow, we're still trying to hover up and be safe. This still going on. And it's really scary because you have your kids on social media or doing different assignments and they don't know who's going to get in their inbox or who's going to say something to them that's going to be out of content, and how they're going to come at your child or even a woman and pretend to be somebody not. And they have law enforcement who are still working the system in terms of making sure their safety is intact, making sure all of this is going on. This is serious, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a ride highs. While we think this thing has died down, oh no, they turn the heat up and think this is a profitable thing while this pandemic going on. They figure, hey, we're gonna make some money while all these people are home. We're gonna go piss some people off. This is their mentality, and this is the way they think, and it's the most horrific, scariest thing that anybody could ever think about. And I didn't even know they had a webinar for about this. If I could ever put up that footage, I'll definitely do so. So you can go through the website and go through this content and just read it, as well as look at the video again. And the link is right up at cbs12.com/local human trafficking up in pandemic. So as I get ready to wrap up this webinar, I want to share one more link, and then I want to thank everybody. With this one here, I've seen this on social media, and this here is a gentleman who who is from Memphis, Tennessee, and he was charged on Saturday with human trafficking after police said he found an 18-year-old woman in a motel on Okeechobee Boulevard being held against her will. So he was arrested. A guy from Tennessee was charged, and he was arrested, and that's pretty much all they have for that article. Oh, again, let me see. Continue forward. Here we go. There we go. Palm Beach Post. So he was charged and he was caught in a local hotel with this woman who was held against her will. And this was posted June 7, 2020. His name was David Kirby of Memphis, traveling across the state line with at least two adult women to sell them for sex, Palm Beach County Sheriff Office said. So this guy, Derek Kirby, was arrested and booked in Palm Beach on 2 counts of sex trafficking adults, 2 counts of living off the proceeding of prostitution, of $220,000 bond. This is absolutely crazy. And after interviewing at the hotel near Florida Turnpike, Palm Beach County detectives said they found Kirby had traveled through several states with two women. So he's been doing this for a while, ladies and gentlemen. And he got caught in Palm Beach County and is arrested for his crime. So as I conclude this webinar tonight, excuse me, this afternoon, or even this evening, or wherever your location may be, I want you to know that this information is very important still at this very moment. So thank you for watching my webinar. Still be safe in these days and time. This still exists. Everyone, thank you for tuning in to this human trafficking webinar by Remarkable Point Inspiration. I love every one of y'all. You be safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. And have a blessed and safe